Hello, I'm Alun Parry. I'm a psychotherapist and counsellor, and I want to show you a 4-minute exercise that you can do whenever you're feeling really anxious. So whenever we feel anxious, what happens is that our heart rate speeds up and we send blood to the muscles and chemicals into the bloodstream because we're preparing to either fight or flight. We're preparing to escape or overcome some sort of danger. And often the kind of danger that our body thinks that we're facing isn't actually as dangerous as when it was first evolved. It's not a saber-toothed tiger anymore, for instance. And often that anxiety will get in our way rather than help us. So I want to show you this 4-minute exercise that you can use at any time. You can do it just counting in your head. It's very, very simple. And what it actually does is it hacks your own body. So it's not a psychotherapy theory thing. This is more about physiology, really. So it's a body hack. And what it does is it brings your heart rate down. And when your heart rate comes down, you'll feel calmer anyway. But it also sends a signal to the body that it can kind of stand down as well. It applies a brake, if you like. If you can think of a bicycle, it just squeezes on the brakes and brings everything down. It also brings on something called your vagus nerve. And your vagus nerve is that part of your nervous system whose job it is to calm you down. And so you'll find that this is a really useful way just to regulate yourself when you're feeling anxious and that anxiety isn't actually serving you. Now, the body hack is that when we breathe in, it actually speeds up our heart rate. And when we breathe out, our heart rate slows down. And so as long as we're breathing out for longer than we're breathing in, our heart rate will naturally slow down anyway. It's a clever little trick. And then when it slows down, the body then receives that signal and it starts to slow down. Your vagus nerve switches on, which is the little brake on our nervous system. And we go from being anxious to being in a more regulated state just through using the breath in that way. So in this exercise, it takes just 4 minutes. And what we're essentially going to do is we're going to breathe in for 2 seconds. I'm going to recommend that you breathe in through your nose. And when we breathe in, make sure that you're not breathing into the chest, but you're breathing in to the stomach. So you can even hold a hand on your stomach here. And it should be like a little Buddha when you breathe in. It should really fill up. And that's important actually because the act of filling up your stomach will also push on your vagus nerve to trigger that little brake that will calm everything down, that will bring you out of panic and into calmness in a natural way. So we breathe in through the nose, we make sure it fills up the belly, and then we'll breathe out for 10 seconds. So breathe in for 2, breathe out through the mouth for 10 seconds. Now when I say breathe out, you can either exhale, and we can exhale like this, through pursed lips, as if blowing on some hot soup. So we'll go and do it that way. Or you can sing la 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 for 10 seconds. And in fact, this is why singing feels so good for us. When you're in the shower and you're singing away, it feels good afterwards because we've basically just done this technique. Singing is a long exhale after all. Or we can chant, whatever chant that you want to come up with. Om, 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 om. I don't mind, it doesn't matter, as long as you're exhaling. You can even talk if you want to. I'm not sure whether that's a little less effective, but as long as you're exhaling, either or la 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 la, or whether you're doing a chant, doesn't matter. The key is if you exhale for longer than you inhale, you'll be steadily bringing your heart rate down, and also the very act of filling up your tummy in that way will be tickling away on your vagus nerve and making it happen. So I'm going to do this with you. Sometimes I'll be exhaling, sometimes I'll be singing, sometimes I'll be talking to give instruction. Doesn't matter, as long as you're exhaling and you don't interrupt that exhale, then that's fine. So I'm going to do it with you so you know how to do it. If you find that it's really quite difficult to last for 10 seconds, then you can drop it down to 8 seconds or 7 seconds or 6 seconds. As long as it's comfortable for you, the longer the better, obviously, but as long as you're breathing out for more than you're breathing in, it's going to work for you. So what I would normally do is I would first check in on myself. How anxious am I at the moment? Well, let's say I'm a 4 or 5 at the moment. After all, I'm doing a video and you're all looking at me, so I'm a little bit more anxious than normal. So let's say I'm about a 4 or a 5, say. 4, I think, is probably about right. Then I'll do the exercise, and after the exercise, I can check in with myself. And what should happen is at the very least, it shouldn't have gone any higher, so we should have stopped any anxiety spike. But what will normally happen is that the anxiety that we report will be less. And I normally do this several times a day and as and when I need it. So I'm going to use an app for this. You don't need to. You can just count in your head, 1, 2, and then out. But I find this app called the Paced Breathing app, I'll link to it in the notes, is a really helpful way of just controlling it. You just set up the settings and then switch it on and you're getting a little bit of guidance. But like I say, if you were getting stressed in the supermarket and maybe it wasn't appropriate to put this on, or you were at the dentist or whatever, you can just use this by counting in your head. The key really is that you breathe out for longer than you breathe in. And as I say, you can talk, you can breathe, you can sing, you can chant. As long as you're exhaling, it's going to do the trick. So, here we go.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Make sure you're releasing the air very slowly in little beats. It might even make sense just to count it in your head so that you know where you're up to, so that you reach
Breathe in, breathe out.
the end really, really comfortably. And make sure that your stomach as well is swelling up, that it's not a chest.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
La 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 la.
Breathe in, breathe out.
La 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 la.
Breathe in, breathe out.
So as I say, you can talk or chant or sing or anything you like, or just breathe. It's entirely up to you. Singing makes it a bit more.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Singing makes it a bit more fun. That is what I tend to find.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
So we're at the halfway mark now. We're actually just past the halfway mark. So keep breathing or chanting or singing or talking as long as you're breathing.
Breathe in, breathe out.
As long as you're breathing out, it doesn't matter really what you do.
Breathe in, breathe out.
So have some fun with it, why don't you? It's more fun if you have some fun with it.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
That's 3 minutes that we've done already. You can even mix it up and sometimes breathe and sometimes sing.
Breathe in, breathe out.
La 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 la.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
This is our last exhale, 'cause we've now done 4 minutes of the exercise. So well done. So let's check in with myself. Out of 10, I'd say my anxiety is probably around about a 2 or even a 1 at the moment. So it was a 4 or 5, now it's a 1 or a 2. It doesn't always come with such drastic results, but it's pretty typical that it'll fall down. So as you can see there, just for 4 minutes, making sure we breathe out for much longer than we breathe in. It takes us from a place where we're quite anxious and panicky and puts us to a place where we regulate ourselves back into calm. And it's a very, very simple body hack. And you can sing out loud, you can breathe out, you can do some sort of chant if you want to, as long as you're exhaling for longer than you're breathing in. And the way I've done it there is 10 seconds out, 2 seconds in, because then your breathing cycle then goes from about 15 or 16 minutes, 16 breaths per minute normally, probably much higher when we're anxious, to just 5. And that's called resonance breathing as well. So on top of what we're doing, we get the impact of resonance breathing, which is also being shown to calm us too. So have a play with that yourself. Let me know how it goes, and I'll put the links to the breathing app. Not that you actually need it, but as you can see, it does make it a little bit more guided as well. So happy breathing out, happy singing, happy chanting, and make sure that you're breathing in through your nose, getting yourself a little Buddha belly, and then breathing out. And if you do that for 4 minutes, then you'll notice the impact, that lovely little body hack, that when we're in an anxious state, we can just bring it right back down again. So that's all from me. I'm Alun Parry, and I'll see you soon.